good day to everybody, especially to my previous co-workers from the ministry, where I worked some decades ago. Let me see, excuse me. I was asked by Andrei, I don't see you, Andrei, if you're here. Okay. Yeah, sure, of course. Here. I should ask for you sooner. Andrei asked me to share with you what I usually lecture, what is my first lecture when I'm meeting the new students in the academic year at one of the Slovenian universities, not this one. And I decided to accept his invitation, and I tried to adjust my presentation or my speech to the audience. I hope I will succeed. But before going into that, let me share you some info about myself, so you will be able to understand why I'm having this particular approach to what I will be sharing with you. When I was a student, not so far ago, I was the first generation who started to program languages for programs to use terminals. My first program was made by punch cards, and then we started to use terminals. So this is where, that was the period when I started to study on the higher education level. And I'm following and being exposed to development of information technology so much and so tremendously that of course I cannot keep the pace with it, but probably that's quite normal. I'm sure that we are all familiar with this slide, which I improved it a bit, and I added to this slide the year where these, let's say, more traditional inventions were commercialized and what was the size of the population. And I think that this tells us a lot about the speediness and the development of the technology. Does anybody remember the Club of Rome, who wrote a famous book titled The Limits of Growth? Just for the record, this book was published in 1972. Does anybody know this book? Of course, of course. Well, actually, whenever I see such predictions as trends, I'm to a certain extent concerned whether we can predict all the circumstances which affects the future trends. But anyhow, this is what we are having now and what we can see. And talking about the artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data analytics, I see that we all have a feeling that that's a kind of a tremendous step forward, which we will experience in pretty soon. But I think that this is nothing, for the time being, comparable to what we see here. How internet affected all of us, the society, individual lives, families, and of course, business as well. More than 60% of the population globally are internet users, having in mind, of course, the age issue or the age divide. And you see here on the left hand side below, you see the annual growth. Interestingly, you see the annual increase of the usage of social media. There are several reasons for that, but that's not the purpose or the topic of my presentation today. So I'm wondering whether AI will have a similar trend and effect, having in mind, soon after my graduation, I had the privilege, I will not tell you when that was, I had the privilege to attend a very, very interesting workshop in Ljubljana by Ivan Bratko, who was a leading expert of artificial intelligence not only in Slovenia, but globally. I mean, well, internationally, sorry. And at that time, I was very keen in realizing what actually artificial intelligence is and how I can use it. And at that time we talked about the 3 big areas of artificial intelligence, if maybe you remember. One was expert systems, automated learning, and does anybody remember who was the 3rd area at that time? Automatic translation of languages, of mother tongue, which we are not talking about today anymore because it's not that much relevant. And the first expert system I developed, of course, with the tool. Since we are from the wine region, I use it for advising wine lovers what kind of wine he or she should order when he or she would like to have a certain food. And that was in 1980 plus. Well, the problem with wines is that they change characteristics annually, so I realized that that was not the best way how to use the expert systems. Anyhow, this is what is a bit concerning regarding the penetration rates across various regions or continents. And there are certain reasons why this is so. If you see, for the time being, since we have esteemed guests and colleagues from I would say, the cradle of the human, not only civilization, but the humans, generally speaking, from Africa, they have, for the time being, the penetration rate less than 50%. In other continents, or in other regions which are economically more advanced, the penetration rate is much higher. What do you think are the 2 main reasons why the penetration rates are different? Not having in mind the economic development or advancement of the country or the region. One is age, and another one is gender. And we have 2 big regions where we have very, very young population. Africa, for example, and Asia. And that affects the penetration rate to a big extent. On top of course, there are some cultural differences which I would not like to go into. Okay, a few other things which I would like to stress. And Andrei, let me know when I will have 5 minutes till the end of my time slot. 5 minutes. Okay. Done. Okay. One thing which we are pretty much aware of, or maybe not enough, is actually the following. Whatever we are having on our phones, whenever we exchange with the others, we have to be aware of that it is publicly, or let's say accessible for those who would like to. By the way, have you used the GDPR to ask Facebook to send you whatever they have about you? Does anybody did that? Okay. How many pages did you get?
Too many.
Of course. But tell me something else. Did they send you solely the things which you published or post on Facebook, or something else on top of that?
No, of course not. They send much more.
Yeah, they sent everything. What you had on your phone, what you have communicated with your colleagues, everything. Thousands of pages. Try to do that. You would be surprised. Because they don't keep track only about what you are, how you are using Facebook, but everything. Okay, another issue related to the identity theft. The 10 most popular passwords in 2024. And to see that from another perspective, this is an interesting slide. I don't know if you see. Do you see? Yeah, it's here. How much time is needed for password to be hacked in 2023, depending on the number of characters and the type of characters? Frightening, wouldn't you say so? Okay, not adjusted for a glass. Okay, since we have guests from other parts of the world, I will not go deep into that, but what you can see it here, I do apologize, but these are the latest data available about the people who experience security-related problems in the European Union across various European member states. But you can see on the average 1/3 of the European, on the average, have experienced one way or the other the issues related to the security. And here you see what is the phishing #1 and all the others as well. The interesting page, if one would be interested in, is ENISA, European Union Agency for Cybersecurity. They have all kinds of data, very, very interesting ones. So this is what I wanted to stress, the importance of being aware how exposed we are once we are on internet and using all kind of apps, tools available. Regarding the family life, well, we all know that we can use internet and everything it's available and what we are having on our phones and all our devices for whatever we do in our families. Luckily, I have a few daughters, and the youngest one helped me yesterday, unsuccessfully, but I see a light at the end of the tunnel. I migrate from Huawei to Samsung. I bought a new phone. Well, I'm sure that we all like to do that. And I made a mistake. I should do that during summer break. I did that last day. So I'm having all kinds of problems. But anyhow, the technology can strengthen or weaken the relationship, the family life. And on one hand, it can increase the safety, or we are more exposed and more threatened by using the technology. So, do we have enough knowledge? Do our kids have enough knowledge to be aware of that and how to handle it? Another perspective, smart homes worldwide. I was, to be very frank, quite a bit disappointed when I saw these figures. I somehow thought and believed that we have far more smart homes worldwide. But the trend is interesting. Well, we cannot avoid Bill Gates if we move from the family life to business. And in 1999, the book was published, written by him, hopefully. And what he was telling us, and what we are very, very much aware of, IT or ICT, or now digital technology, and business are so much dependent on each other that we cannot think of one not having in mind the other, and vice versa. Just a few facts we are all aware of how technology affected white collar. And we are now seeing what is happening, if I may use the term, with blue collar now, with the artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data analytics. Do you know what I'm trying to show with the slides on the right-hand side of I mean the photos on the right-hand side of this slide? The upper one is something what is very, very interesting thing which is going on. It is underground farms in big cities, in vertical. They use now, you know, on the surface we have, let's say, 2 dimensions. Now this is one trend, and the second one is, well, now is the season for strawberries. And you know what is the biggest problem harvesting strawberries if we do that manually? Does anybody know? You're not supposed to touch the strawberry with fingers, because then it starts to rotten. And this is the agrobots which are now doing that. Okay, going to something what is probably a sin to talk about in institutions like this. Who would like to provide the graduates in all study fields for all the jobs in the society? I hope you don't see the gray part. Well, both are great, but which are the worst jobs. And I would like to stress the right part of the slide, which are the best jobs of the future. What is in common to what we see on the right-hand side? Not all of you, please. One would be enough. High cognitive skills. Empathy. And ICT knowledge. These are the 3 areas which we should focus on. And I can illustrate that with this interesting research. Pearson and McKinsey, they did a research about the jobs which are present now and which we are supposed to have in a relatively near future. And they found the same answer. They both believe the importance of higher order cognitive skills, which means complex problem solving, originality, fluid thinking, and active learning. And are we capable today to develop these competencies to our students? Are we? Do we know how to do that? Again, we see the same result from McKinsey Global Institute. And the interesting thing is the following illustration. What is going to be the change of the working hours in these 5 fields by the year 2030 regarding the physical and manual skills, basic cognitive skills, higher cognitive skills, social and emotional skills, and technological skills. Unfortunately, they did that only for the US and for the Western Europe. It would be interesting to see across other continents as well. Andre, how I'm doing with the time? Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, good. So let us slightly move to some other areas. I mentioned white collar, which was replaced by mechanization and automation. And now we came to the situation where white collars, blue collars, and now we are in a situation where the white collar occupations and jobs are threatened to be at least transformed, if not abandoned. Here are a few facts. I developed this slide immediately after, I think, at the beginning of last year, if I remember correctly, when was a big, how to say, surprise for those who were not aware of the ChatGPT. And here you see some reactions to the ChatGPT. So, a year and a half ago, when ChatGPT was, how to say, given to the public to use. How many of you do not use ChatGPT? Could I see your hands? Okay, I see none, which makes sense. Okay. Regarding the society, we have a major dilemma or issue which is twofold. One is related to the privacy. Another is related to the costs of the digitalization and how to find the balance, which is as well, of course, as well as dependent on the let's say, cultural background. If you don't mind, I will skip this Digital and Economy and Society Index because this is worth of paying attention to it, but I will not go into that. And what is the situation regarding the human, one of the 4 pillars about the digitalization of the society. I will skip that. Okay, maybe this is worth of stressing it. How important regarding the digital skills is the age, the education, employment, gender, luckily, or not that much, and as well as where somebody lives, whether it is a urban or rural area. A few facts about genomics. We all know, well, those of you who are following that, what is going on in this area, we all know that without hyper powerful computers, we cannot deal with this topic. But here you see a few facts. I just, firstly, I'm illustrating it with the positive effects of using, or let's say using the genomics regarding the cancer and depression and suicide. But here we have a very, very sensitive usage of genomics. 10 weeks after conception, genomics can determine the future characteristics of a newborn. And not only that, it gives a ground, if I may use the term, to play with the genes, or change, improve, enhance the genes. Very, very sensitive things. I think it's no need to lose time for Neuralink. You know that now this gentleman who has, to whom they implanted the chip, brain chip, is able to move the mouse only with thoughts. Most probably you know that. Okay. urban life. You see the few facts about what is the size of the population who live in the rural and urban area across the continents, and the biggest countries. I like this one. Somehow I expected that some other towns or cities would be listed on top, but you see London is #1, so don't drive a car in the center of London. Probably the reason is because they're driving on the left-hand side. Just kidding, just kidding. Okay, we'll skip this. I will skip this well. I will skip this as well. This is a new things which we are exposed and experiencing. Hacktivists, disinformation and deep fakes. We were not that much aware of that. Let me conclude this part with this. Are we sure that the digital technology cannot replace human judgment and intuition? Probably the following speaker will share with you what he thinks about that. But to be frank, I'm not. Quite a few decades ago, they found a very, very interesting area of usage of expert systems on courts, where especially in the Anglo-American case judicial system, where they can use expert systems because they rely on big data analytics and cases that could be easily used. Okay, and let me conclude again with Bill Gates. What is the future question? The main question is, I'm sure, and I've already mentioned that, security, and I would add as well as privacy. And this is what when we are using the technology, we have to have that in mind. And let us now move to my final slides. I still have 8 minutes, am I right? I see now the time. I don't need you, Andre, thank you. I used, for the final few slides, hate me or not, I used ChatGPT. Firstly, what is the impact of ChatGPT on individuals, family, business and society? Because this is how the first part of the presentation was structured. You see, in education, personal assistant, accessibility, learning support for families, organization, entertainment, well, we are pretty much aware of that. On business, process automation, customer service, analytics and reporting, and society. Again, education, healthcare, inclusivity. Okay, let me conclude. And this is what I put these two say cartoons on top, which I like it very, very much, because this is my personal experience using ChatGPT. Rephrase, extend, transform, make shorter. They can do whatever you wish. Let me go to the final few slides. Would you agree about these applications of artificial intelligence and machine learning in education? I listed 14 here. How and where we could use artificial intelligence, not having in mind, of course, the level of education. Maybe for discussion later on, we could talk about it if somebody would like to say, or agree or disagree. But when I got this, I wasn't quite satisfied with what I've gotten. and I asked ChatGPT, please tell me, what do you think, what are the positive and what are the negative impacts of artificial intelligence and machine learning on education? And we've already seen more or less the column on the right, but we haven't seen yet the impacts, negative impacts, in the column on left. And I think that one of the things which is the purpose, I haven't talked about that with the organizers, is actually transformation of teachers' role. I think the purpose of the conference. This is what you are dealing with. Is this a negative, or it is a positive, or both? And I think that this is what you will try to find out in series of your conference. And since I was not quite satisfied yet with what I've gotten from ChatGPT, I asked, I don't know whether you can see, it's, of course, you know the basic rule. If you see so much text on the slide, then it's for me. If you see only a few bullet points, then it's for you, but I will not go through it. I tried to illustrate which are in common on all three levels of education and where are the differences. And of course, the differences exist. By the way, for those of you who would like to get this presentation, it is here on the desktop. I will not erase it. So you see here are possibilities of usage of artificial intelligence and on the various levels, and we are just right now, we are preparing one very interesting article with my friends and colleagues from Asia and the States, how artificial intelligence is affecting in higher education the access to higher education, equity, integrity, which are very, very sensitive things. Okay, and to be very, very frank, I didn't expect from ChatGPT that it would provide me a negative answers. When I asked about what is going to be the relationship in education between artificial intelligence and human educators. And this is what I got. It makes sense, it's logical, but I think that this is not the whole story. And to conclude, what is the potential for collaboration? I don't want to go into the direction which the next presenter or the next keynote will be dealing with, but are we sure that they will help us and not replace us? I prepared with my colleagues a very, very nice presentation for one international conference where we take some very short clip about us, and on the basis of that, Avatar was developed. And then Avatar was, the presentation was made in the languages we do not know. If you didn't pay enough attention, you would think that I am fluent in French, in Portuguese, Chinese, Mandarin. Unbelievable what could be done. And if that could be done, am I still needed in the classroom when I'm depending on, of course, the teaching mode? And one very, very important thing to stress, and I'm sure that you are all aware of that. I still have 1 minute, Andre. This technology will request from us even more to follow the development of the digital technology. Are we capable of following that, on top of the following the development in our own academic field. And by that, I'm done with my presentation. Thank you for your patience with me.